and welcome to our live stream of the Outlander 10th anniversary celebration. 10 years, can you believe it? I am your host, Josh Horowitz. Well, almost a decade ago to this very day, something monumental happened that transformed television, changed the lives of people all around the world, and while I don't have the actual figures, probably was a huge windfall for the kilt-making industry. It has been an unbelievable journey, and it all began with two amazing actors who also happen to be two incredible people. Please welcome Caitriona Balfe and Sam Heughan.
You say that to everybody, don't you?
Yeah.
Congratulations, guys. Take a bow, do a high five, do a dance.
Yeah, 10 years.
Well done.
You know, in the spirit of Outlander, let's do a little bit of time travel. Let's go back 10 years. Do you remember vividly the moment each of you got the role?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember exactly where I was when I got the call. I was at my friend George's house in Silver Lake, and she had two very, very young babies. She had twins, and they'd just gone to bed. I got this phone call, and I remember just being like, having a very excited whisper off with my friend Georgia about how I just got a big job, because obviously the babies were sleeping and I couldn't wake them up. 4 days later, I was in Scotland.
Wow. That's so fast. The day the phone call, I remember I was in a grocery store in London. You know, it was a dream come true, like a big American TV
Did you walk
show.
out with the produce,
I left everything actually in the grocery store. Yeah, I mean, it was such a whirlwind, and then, you know, going straight into screen tests and then looking for the Claire, and it took quite a while. And then this one landed in Scotland, you know, weeks or before we just started shooting.
We'd started shooting in October, the very beginning of October. And then the first episode aired obviously in August. But I remember we were on set and they gave us the numbers of the first episode, and I got to like make an announcement to the crew that like
It did well.
it did.
We're going to be okay.
Well. Yeah.
Apparently, we might be doing this for 10 years. You guys might be seeing a lot of me for the next 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think any of us realized it was going to be 10 years.
Outlander obviously premiered 2014, a big year for pop culture. There were some other big pop culture moments that year. I want to see how good your memory is. I've got some trivia for you about pop culture 2014. Okay. Sam, what was the name of Taylor Swift's album that year?
Well, as you know, Josh, I'm a huge fan, and I've been there for all the years, and actually been to a concert once. And it's that long ago, I can't remember.
It's a number. It's the same. It's what you can bench press.
About 5.
I thought you could do 1989. I thought that was your number. That was
1989.
1989. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was born 9 years earlier. So, but good to hear that was not her first album.
It wasn't her first album, but that was a huge break.
Being
Caitriona, what was the big internet challenge that raised money for ALS that year? Do you remember?
Oh, the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Oh,
Caitriona always wins. This is the only absolute in the universe.
Did you do the challenge?
I don't think I did. I don't know if I was challenged.
Oh, we can drop an ice bucket on you guys right now if you want.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Whilst with the table.
Sam, who took arguably the world's most famous selfie at the time that year?
Famous selfie. Was it at the Oscars?
There it is. And it was the
remember
host.
Cooper?
It wasn't Taylor Swift. It was Ellen DeGeneres. It's okay.
Oh,
It's okay.
yeah.
You were focused on the work. You were making Outlander.
When we're on Outlander,
It's like we're on lockdown.
it's like a bubble we've been in for 10 years, and you know, the world goes by, and we don't even know when we're released, you know, what the world is going to look like.
There's a photo of you guys announcing the premiere. Take a look at this photo.
Oh my God.
That's
We were
cute.
so young.
I feel
More than people.
Isn't Travis?
That is Travis.
That's Travis the horse.
Yeah.
What a legend.
I've found that the only thing better than watching Outlander is watching you guys watch Outlander. So we're going to have you guys watch a pivotal scene from that first episode and just give the audience a sense of what goes through your mind as you watch this. Check this out.
You break his arm if you do it like that.
Oh, there we are. That lovely shift that I wore for about a month straight.
You look very wet, cold.
It was very wet and cold.
This is actually in the studio.
No.
Yes, this was the studio.
Are you sure that wasn't on the location?
No, this is studio.
Oh, okay.
I remember, yeah. Full prosthetic.
Yeah.
Paint. Painful.
Howie.
Everyone's very dirty. This is what I love about it. Everyone is just covered
Yes,
in
everybody
filth.
was like really broken down.
Broken
at that
down
point.
internally and externally.
Yeah.
And I just love seeing Steve and
and
Grant
Grant.
and those extra characters. We even get a little glimpse of Myrta, I think, at some point, don't we?
I
Just
also remember having to do a lot of like chat with the medical advisor about how you actually put Amber back in.
painful. We love a little bit of comedy as well, don't we?
Oh yes, I'm a nurse. Not that kind of nurse.
Yeah.
Tender for about a week. You'll need a sling.
Tender for a week.
You.
And a sling.
Fetch
And
me along to
you
the
say
shop
something
or a
about
belt.
fresh compresses or warm compresses. I'm like, what? I mean, does Jamie even know what you're talking about at this point?
Probably not.
No.
But I think they just knew that I was much smarter than
There's
them all.
Dougal being authoritative.
Done this before.
He's got a very dirty head, hasn't he?
Oh, there we go. There, I'm a nurse. Not that cut. Not a wet nurse.
Ah.
Just in case everybody was confused.
Get it?
Move the joint for 2 or 3 days.
Because there's nothing funnier than really spelling a joke out.
Very slowly at first.
Just giving good advice
Stop it
here.
once if it
Yeah.
hurts.
And I remember being quite compressed when you're putting this belt on. I literally like this.
All right.
And there's
There's
Halligan, old Myrta.
Myrta. It's a great scene because I think we're all speaking Gaelic in the scene, and then this vision comes in, and she's speaking English, and she's we're distrustful of her, don't know who she is and why she dressed like this, but she's so strong and asserts
She's a
herself.
poor in the ship.
Who is this coming in our house? But wow, that was the first scene we did together.
And that's
Yeah.
how you still tend to Sam when he arrives on set with an injury
Yeah.
to this day, right?
Yeah,
I
ties a belt and
knew
ties me up.
belts all the
Give
time.
me some good advice, and then
Nothing has changed.
On my way.
Yeah, get to work. I'm sick of having a love fest here. Let's get to the tough stuff, guys. Are you ready? Let's decide who really had it harder way back when. Okay, so when you think back to that first season, who had the more uncomfortable costume back in the beginning? I see the trauma. I see.
Yeah, I can never argue that one. Corsets and bump.
There's not even a smile. There's just a
Yeah.
yeah. Who put in the most hours, kind of like getting the language, the accent, just right?
I mean,
You had more language.
I had to speak pages of Gaelic in there, and I guess there was a change of accent. I don't really know what Jamie's accent is anymore. It's Jamie accent. But yeah, but you were doing an accent as well. I think, but we definitely put in a lot of work in the beginning, right? And it's cool now
Yeah.
after years of playing these characters that not so you don't have to put in the effort, but it's like it's already there. You've done the work, so it's lovely to be able to just drop into the characters again. But yeah, those first few.
Although I do, listening to that, I'm like, oh, jeez. There's still a little hint sometimes of Irish in there.
That's not true.
Claire.
Maybe she'd been to Ireland on her holidays.
Who went on the bigger hair journey that first season?
Oh God, that's a tie.
Yeah,
Like,
we went on a great journey with the hair.
I mean, you definitely had more dyes.
Mhm.
I had more perms.
Yeah,
Who do you think had to learn the most practical skills first season? Like who had to pick up just
I think Katrina.
skills?
think
It
with-
was like kind of a mix. I had to do more medical stuff, but then you had to do a lot of fighting.
Lots of fighting, and I guess the horse
We
riding.
both had to do horse riding.
Yeah, but I guess the more technical side is the sort of all the operations that Claire's done. Tweezers and hot water.
I
bandages.
definitely learned an awful lot about bandaging. I did have like an official pamphlet from the British Army for bandaging in 1945, 19 whatever. So I'd learned a lot of those methods of bandaging for Second World War. Used quite a lot too.
in real life, or have you used them at all?
No, I mean, not yet. I'm waiting for the moment.
Someone says,
yeah.
"Is anyone
You never know.
a doctor in the house?"
A light could fall on you at any moment, Sam.
A
She's
real
ready.
one. And if there's not a real doctor, I'll go, well,
Well, I played a doctor
let's
once.
TV. So I know.
Do you need one with skills from 1945? Because I'm your woman right here.
If anyone has rickets, I'm in a great position to help you.
There are obviously so many great memories from that first season. Let's talk about some of them. First of all, I guess, just what is the standout memory? If I asked you, season one, what brings a smile to your face? What will never leave your mind when you think back to that first season?
I don't know. It's more like a culmination. I mean,
Yeah.
we packed so much into that first season. Like it was like
16 episodes, yeah.
16 hours of TV, which, you know, how many, like 200 and something odd days, 260 something days we filmed for. That was like a lot.
I think it's also just, you know, seeing those clips you just showed, you know, like the other cast, you know, I think memories of like sort of really core group that we all started together on this journey, and it was the OG, it was the original.
Yeah, and I think we were all like such a tight group in that first season. Like there was you know, obviously a lot of the characters left after then, but it was like the newness of it all, and we had a lot of fun. We laughed a lot.
We did.
And drank.
You've mentioned that original grouping. I mean, when you think back to Tobias and Graham and Duncan and Grant, like, I mean, do you have any specific moments, memories connected with them? Because I know, I mean, they're probably all part of your lives still. They will be forever, because that is a very unique experience you all went through together. When you think back to any of them in particular, do you remember a specific moment with any of them?
Season 1, yeah. We did do a whiskey tasting at Graham's apartment in Edinburgh with Matt and Meryl, producers, and it
was the night before a read-through.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not sure that any of us were sober at the read-through.
We absolutely weren't.
So
Trina we picked her up in her car, and she was upside down, and her feet were on the ceiling of the car, and she put her footprints on the ceiling. And I probably shouldn't be saying
Always
this,
a professional. Yeah.
Duncan, I believe, walked into the main producer's office, picked up a version of Outlander and threw it across the office in some sort of, I don't know, slightly drunken ramble. And I remember just trying to read these lines during the read-through and like stressing so much that a line was coming up, and would I even be able to say it?
You start to go to these like fan events. There was an early LA fan event. There was Comic-Con. What are your first memories of kind of meeting the fans and going to these ginormous public events?
Wasn't it the first one in LA? So, right? I think it was
right.
In LA. We were just not expecting, or didn't know what to expect. And I think we were partway shooting. I think we were like, our first block had been done. First couple episodes.
And they cut together a little sizzle reel from the first 2 episodes, I think. And we had no idea. We had no idea that, I don't know, the sort of fan base for the books, like how large that was or what the appetite was. And you and I went into this place, and there's like 2,000 people in this place in